Welcome to History Explained, where we illuminate the past to better understand our present. I'm your guide for this weekly dose of 7 days under 7 minutes. Today is Sunday, June 15, 2025. As we do every Friday, we examine economic milestones, those crucial decisions, policy pivots, and financial signals that are transforming the global economy in real time. This week, from June 9 through June 15, saw new trade agreements, inflation battles, and a powerful debate about who reaps the benefits of artificial intelligence. We begin in Singapore, where finance ministers from ASEAN and EU nations finalized a landmark digital trade and data protection agreement on June 11. The agreement establishes shared protocols for cross-border data flows, cloud storage regulation, and AI governance. Leaders from both blocs framed the deal as a foundation for human-centered digital growth, aimed at preserving privacy while fueling innovation. It's being compared to previous trade frameworks like NAFTA or the WTO's founding rules, signaling that in the 21st century, data is currency, and policy is power. Back in the United States, the Federal Reserve held its highly anticipated June policy meeting on June 12, opting to hold interest rates steady despite core inflation ticking slightly upward. Chair Jerome Powell struck a cautious tone, noting tentative signs of disinflation, but warning against premature easing. Markets responded with modest gains, while analysts continue to debate whether the Fed is steering a soft landing, or simply waiting out deeper instability. Comparisons are being made to the mid-1990s, a time of controlled inflation, tech-driven productivity, and pre-bubble optimism. In Kenya, the government introduced a sweeping new tax reform package on June 10, aiming to widen the tax base and reduce debt dependency. The reforms include new digital service taxes, a restructured VAT, and incentives for green technology investment. President William Ruto emphasized that the package is designed to foster long-term sustainability while protecting the vulnerable. Critics, however, have voiced concern about the impact on small businesses and rural communities. Economists say the country's ability to balance growth and equity may serve as a model, or a cautionary tale, for other emerging economies. June 13 brought another headline from the tech sector, where the Global Creative Workers Alliance launched the world's first AI royalty framework, a proposed system for compensating artists, writers, and musicians whose work is used to train generative AI models. The proposal, presented in New York and Brussels, includes blockchain-based tracking, licensing standards, and collective bargaining tools. It's been described as Spotify for AI datasets, and could mark a turning point in how labor, creativity, and algorithms intersect in the modern economy. In India, the Reserve Bank announced a modest cut to its policy repo rate on June 14, aimed at stimulating consumption ahead of the summer monsoon season. Analysts welcomed the move as a signal of growing central bank confidence in inflation control, which has moderated after food and fuel shocks in early 2024. The RBI also introduced incentives for rural lending and agri-tech startups, underscoring how financial inclusion and innovation are being prioritized as dual engines for economic resilience. On June 9, Argentina's economy ministry released new growth projections showing modest recovery following a brutal inflationary cycle. The Argentine peso stabilized slightly after central bank interventions and negotiations with the IMF yielded short-term relief. While critics warn the outlook remains fragile, some observers say the country may be at the start of a longer stabilization arc reminiscent of Brazil's Plano Real in the 1990s, underscoring the role of consistent policy in weathering fiscal storms. In Europe, Germany's Bundestag passed new legislation on June 13 requiring all companies over 250 employees to publish annual sustainability impact statements. The law, which takes effect in 2026, is one of the most aggressive ESG transparency mandates in the world. Advocates say it will push companies toward ethical accountability, opponents warn of excessive bureaucracy. But few deny it's part of a broader trend in which reputational capital and financial capital are increasingly intertwined. And finally, on June 15, cryptocurrency markets rebounded sharply after the SEC approved a long-delayed set of regulatory guidelines for stablecoins and digital asset custody. The move brings long-sought clarity to the US crypto space, with analysts calling it the most consequential step since the 2020 DeFi boom. The announcement also included joint enforcement pledges with the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, signaling a new era of international crypto cooperation. From central bank strategies in AI royalties to digital trade rules and crypto regulation, this past week reminds us that the economy is not a machine, it's a story. One that reflects how societies manage risk, reward innovation, and negotiate the boundaries between profit and fairness. Thank you for joining us for this week's Economic Milestones. If you found value in this financial snapshot, subscribe and share the episode with someone who wants to understand not just where the money is, but where it's going. Up next, our Saturday episode, where we explore military history and the battles that shaped our world. Until then, I'm your guide for History Explained, where understanding yesterday is the key to navigating tomorrow.